October 15, 1917. Dawn breaks over Vincennes fortress as a firing squad prepares for history's most controversial execution. She stands defiantly against the wooden post, refusing the blindfold with a contemptuous smile that has captivated Europe for years. Her name is Mata Hari, and in moments she will die for crimes she may never have committed. But was she really the master spy who sold secrets to Germany, or just a scapegoat for France's failures? Her story begins not in glamorous Parisian salons, but in a small Dutch town where dreams were the only escape. This is Margaretha Zell, who transformed herself into the world's most famous exotic dancer, seducing powerful men across nations. What follows is a story of reinvention, survival, and the ultimate price of living in a world demanding impossible choices. Born Margaretha Geertruida Zell in Leeuwarden, Netherlands, on August 7, 1876. She was the daughter of a prosperous hat merchant. Her comfortable childhood shattered when her father's business collapsed, destroying the family's social standing and forcing them into relative poverty. At 18, desperate to escape circumstances, she answered a newspaper advertisement from Dutch military officer Rudolf MacLeod seeking a wife. The marriage in 1895 seemed like salvation, offering her officer's wife status and the promise of exotic travels to distant lands. MacLeod was stationed in Java, where Margaretha discovered the sensual temple dances that would later make her fortune and reputation. But marriage proved nightmare, as MacLeod was an alcoholic who beat her regularly and flaunted his affairs with local women. Their son Norman died mysteriously at age 2, possibly poisoned, while their daughter Jean survived but remained sickly and traumatized. When MacLeod kidnapped their surviving daughter during divorce proceedings, Margaretha left the Indies forever. Arriving penniless in Paris in 1904. She was 28, divorced, broke, and desperate, but possessed something invaluable: exotic knowledge of Eastern dance and extraordinary beauty. In 1905, she debuted as exotic dancer at the Guillemette, taking the stage name Mata Hari, meaning Eye of Day. Assuming the persona of Eastern princess, she performed erotic temple dances that became instantly popular throughout Europe's most sophisticated capitals. Her performances were revolutionary, combining sensual movement with mystical Eastern spirituality that mesmerized European audiences hungry for exotic entertainment and forbidden pleasures. She claimed to be a Javanese princess trained in sacred temple dances, a complete fabrication that Paris society eagerly accepted. She created erotic Indian temple dances, performing them passionately, exotic, mysterious, and sensual performances that captivated audiences across the continent. Within months, Mata Hari became the toast of Paris, her name synonymous with forbidden pleasures and mysterious Eastern sensuality. Once penniless, she now lived luxuriously. 5-star hotels, chic Paris flat, jewelry, dresses, financed by admirers, including high-ranking officers. Her lovers included some of Europe's most powerful men: German officers, French politicians, Russian nobles, and allegedly the Kaiser's son. She moved effortlessly between European capitals, performing in Berlin, Vienna, Madrid, and Rome, while collecting wealthy patrons and military secrets. But her career as dancer was already declining by 1910, as younger performers captured audiences and her exotic novelty faded. Like an athlete's career, a dancer's is generally short, and Mata Hari had begun her career when she was close to 30. She increasingly relied on wealthy lovers for financial support, trading intimacy for the luxury lifestyle she had grown accustomed to enjoying. When World War I erupted in 1914, Europe's borders hardened, and her international lifestyle became increasingly suspicious to wartime authorities. Her connections to German officers made her an obvious target for French intelligence, who began monitoring her movements and associations. Captain Georges Ledoux of French counterintelligence approached her in 1916, allegedly recruiting her as double agent against her German contacts. She claimed throughout her trial that she was working for French intelligence, spying on German officers who trusted her completely. But the French had already decided she was German spy, using her intimate access to military secrets to betray France. Her arrest in February 1917 at Hotel Palace shocked Parisian society, who couldn't believe their beloved exotic star was accused. She had been held in Saint Lazare prison for 3 months, much to her indignation, locked up as an ordinary prostitute. The evidence against her was largely circumstantial. Her German lovers, her international travel, and intercepted German communications mentioning Agent H21. Despite her claims of innocence and assertions that she worked for French intelligence, she was tried in closed military court. The trial was sham, conducted in secret with no real opportunity for her to present evidence of her innocence. French authorities needed scapegoat for their military failures, and Mata Hari's exotic background made her the perfect target for wartime paranoia. She was convicted of causing deaths of 50,000 French soldiers by passing military secrets to Germany, though no concrete evidence supported. She was executed for the crime on October 15, 1917. Shot by firing squad after French authorities learned of alleged espionage. On the morning of her execution, she dressed carefully in tailored suit and hat, determined to die with same style. She walked calmly to execution post, refusing religious comfort and declining the traditional blindfold with aristocratic disdain for her executioners. 12 soldiers raised their rifles as she stood defiantly, her final performance watched by a small crowd of officials and journalists. The volley of shots rang out across the fortress courtyard, ending the life of Europe's most notorious alleged spy. The nature and extent of her espionage activities remain uncertain, and her guilt is widely contested by modern historians. No family member claimed her body, so it was donated to medical science, with her head preserved in museum. A century after her execution, researchers are dismantling some myths about her life, questioning whether she was siren or scapegoat. Modern evidence suggests she was likely innocent of major espionage charges, possibly taking small payments from German officers for known information. Her real crime may have been living too independently, refusing to conform to society's expectations for women during wartime. The idea of beautiful exotic dancer using powers of seduction as spy made her name synonymous with the femme fatale. She became template for every fictional female spy who followed, her legend growing far beyond the historical reality of life. Books, films, and operas have immortalized her as ultimate seductress, who traded secrets for diamonds and betrayed nations for love. But the truth was likely far more mundane, desperate woman trying to survive in a world that offered few options. Her transformation from Margarita Zell to Mata Hari represents the ultimate reinvention, showing how completely someone could recreate their identity. She understood instinctively that in a world obsessed with exotic and forbidden, mystery was more valuable than truth and performance, powerful. Her exotic dances were unauthentic Eastern temple rituals, but brilliant theatrical creations that gave European audiences exactly what they craved. She succeeded in escaping her Dutch provincial origins and creating international persona that commanded wealth, respect, and attention from Europe's elite. Yet her very success made her vulnerable when war transformed cosmopolitan Europe into a collection of suspicious, paranoid nations hunting enemies. Her international connections, once her greatest asset, became evidence of treachery in a world where crossing borders marked you as dangerous. The men who had once celebrated her exotic allure and international sophistication abandoned her when their countries demanded loyalty. She died as she had lived, performing for audience, maintaining her dignity and mystery, even as firing squad took aim. Her story reveals the impossible position of women in early 20th century Europe, caught between traditional expectations and modern opportunities. Mata Hari represents both possibilities and dangers of reinvention, showing how far someone could rise by creating entirely new identity. But she also demonstrates ultimate vulnerability of those who live by charm and connection rather than inherited power or protection. Her legend has far outlasted the historical woman, proving that sometimes mythology serves human needs better than factual accuracy. In death, she achieved the immortality that had eluded her in life, becoming eternal symbol of feminine mystery and sexuality. Whether innocent victim or guilty spy, Mata Hari remains one of history's most compelling figures, woman who dared to reinvent. Her execution marked the end of era when individuals could move freely across European borders, creating new identities and living. The seductive spy who may have fooled no nations except in legend continues to captivate imaginations more than a century later. She proved that in a world hungry for mystery and glamour, the greatest magic trick is transforming yourself into exactly what desire. Mata Hari conquered Europe through reinvention, paid the ultimate price for independence, and became immortal through the power of her legend.